I've been involved in the sport of distance running now for over 24 years, and one thing that I've noticed so often throughout the course of that time is that when it comes to improving running performance, the conversation centers around training, nutrition, recovery, shoes, and technology. All really important things when it comes to actually improving running performance. But the thing which is always at the tail end of the conversation, especially in the world of running, is that of efficiency of technique. For whatever reason, runners haven't quite jumped on the same bandwagon as what swimmers and tennis players, golfers, and even cyclists have been on for years now, in knowing that the efficiency of your movement dictates the outcome of your performance. And not just the outcome of your performance, but the ease or lack of ease that you feel when you're actually taking part in the activity. Today, I wanted to share with you 5 simple cues for you to be aware of when you're trying to develop the efficiency of your movement as a distance runner. The first thing I want to speak about is arm swing. A lot of the time when an athlete becomes interested in how to improve the efficiency of their movement, they'll say, hey, what do I actually do with my arms? Here at Relax Running, we're big believers in the idea that your upper body as a whole is coming along for the ride with your lower body. What does that mean specifically? Ideally, when your upper body's simply going along for your ride, you want to see a nice, clean arm swing. That means tension-free. That means daylight, ideally, between the elbow and the side of your body as you're on a backswing. If you can stay tension-free through your upper body, then naturally your efficiency to carry energy more effectively throughout the run is going to be increased. One question a lot of athletes have is, what angle should my arms be on? And you don't have to watch many elite runners to see that different angles work incredibly well for different athletes. It doesn't matter whether you've got a relatively high arm carry or a lot lower arm carry. What you want to see is that there's not an over rotation through the upper body. A lot of the time, athletes with high arm carry think that the high arm carry is the problem, but it's really the tension through their shoulders which is causing an over rotation. Now, naturally, with an over rotation, not only is that just dissipating energy ineffectively in your upper body, but it's also forcing your lower body to have to come in and try and balance out the chaos which is taking place up above. So ideally, your upper body's going along for a ride, your arms are at whatever angle you feel comfortable with, so long as you can see daylight between your elbow and the side of your body on its backswing. Now, the second point we want to talk about is just the relaxation through the upper body. How do we actually stay relaxed? One thing you'll note now that you're aware of it is when you watch an athlete move from a jog into a higher pace run, into a sprint, into high levels of fatigue, is that there's very different movement patterns which become obvious, especially under fatigue. So with athletes that I work with, the first point that I'll try and get them to pay attention to is at what point do they notice that there is a lack of comfort or there is a buildup of tension in their upper body. A lot of the time, you'll notice this in particular parts just as you're running along. But for many athletes, it becomes way more obvious as they start to move through the phases I just spoke about: higher pace, more fatigue. When you start to become aware of the fact that there are certain points in your body that you store tension, it becomes much easier to help release that tension. So if you're an athlete, then throughout the day, I would encourage you just to spend some time going, hey, is there any points of tension building up in my body right now? And then feel with a deep breath and an exhale, that particular part of your body relaxed. If you can take this mindset into your running and become more comfortable asking this question at various points in your run, then your ability to actually dissipate that tension as it builds up will become easier because naturally you'll be more aware of the fact that it's happening. Some of the main points of tension that you'll notice in your upper body is through the hands, the forearms, the shoulders, but either up around the bottom of the ears or even through your shoulder blades squeezing together as though there's a tennis ball placed on your spine and those shoulder blades are squeezing it together. Now, when there's tension, particularly with the shoulder blades, that serves as a great example. Even as you sit here watching this now, squeeze your shoulder blades together and try and take a deep breath. Naturally, you'll notice that the tension through your muscles is really impacting your ability to get a nice deep breath. But more than that, you can feel if you swing your arms that your body's forced to go into this state of over rotation. So become aware of whether the tension's through your shoulder blades or through the shoulders coming up around the bottom of your arms. And then with a breath, feel what it feels like to help release that tension. The third thing we want to speak about is body angle. Now, at the risk of way oversimplifying it, you'll see athletes operate in one of three ways. The first is they've almost got the brakes on. They're on a backwards lean. Their heels are hitting the ground in a real heavy way, well in front of the center of their body mass as they take each step. And it's serving as almost a brake as they move through their movement. The other one, which a lot of athletes who have the best intentions make the mistake of doing, is they understand that there's some kind of forward lean taking place when they're out there running. So they'll almost pivot or lean forward from the top of their hips up to their head. Now, you'll see this because it looks as though they're poking their chest towards the ground. The problem with this is, despite the fact you're doing what you've been told to do in leaning forward, is that lean forward over the hips is really impacting the knee lift, the efficiency of the leg swing, and really doing nothing to help the momentum that you carry throughout a run. Whenever I work with an athlete, and you can see in the videos that I've posted over the last couple of years, I'll encourage an athlete to change the momentum or change the angle of their body from the heels up to the head. You want to move forward in one particular angle. A great way to do this is just to get your whole body up against a wall, and then almost like a paddle pop stick or an icy pole stick, popsicle stick if you're from America, lean forward on one angle, and then as you feel that you're about to fall, your body will naturally step out in front of you. That's the angle that we're trying to generate. If you think of running as a one-legged sport, which technically it is, each step you want to generate momentum into the next step. This body angle is the most effective way to do that. The fourth thing is really interesting, and another one which is way overlooked in the area of distance running is the idea of developing rhythm. Now, running isn't often thought about as a coordination sport or a rhythm-based sport, but when you develop some sense of rhythm throughout your actual activity, it gets easier. This is the reason that when we listen to music a lot of the time, we'll just fall into a little bit of a higher pace. We get into a rhythm with the music that we're listening to. If you ever look at the East Africans, the Kenyans, the Ethiopians, their warm-up routines are very different to that of a lot of Western athletes. They're not just going through a jog and then some stretches. They're going through some activities which involve coordination, agility, momentum. It's almost like a plyometric where all of these elements are coming together. If you haven't thought about rhythm as a way to improve your running performance, have a look at some of the videos that I've linked below and see how the best athletes in the world are warming up for their event. The last thing that a lot of athletes think about is, hey, what do I actually do with my head? When you see an athlete become tense, they'll either be looking up at the roof like that, or they'll poke their head really far forward there. Like I said in regards to our arm swing, our upper body is just coming along for our ride. Now, our head naturally is a part of our upper body, so you want it to be in as neutral a position as possible. Ideally, if you think about your head just sitting at the very top of your spine, that's the neutral position that you want it to be in. If you start poking your head forward like this, not only is that showing tension throughout your neck and your jaw, it limits your ability to get good oxygen in, that also is just uncomfortable. So get used to that feeling of having your head in a neutral position at the top of your spine. If you've got any questions or anything needs clarity, please hit me up in the comments below. If you are looking for more specific or individualized help, I've got a coupon code specifically for YouTube viewers to join our Relaxed Running Technique Analysis program. You can do that by hitting the link below. But for now, let's continue our conversation down in the comments below.